titled in the thing. Oh, well, I think we're live on YouTube. So, hey, welcome everybody to season 4, 2. I can remember these ones because it's really early on in the season. It'll all start to get a little bit more messy a little later on. But yeah, welcome everyone. I hope everybody's doing well. And I tell you what, let's kick off with a quick little catch up, see how everybody's doing. I get out of this view as well. We want to review, and I don't want to be shown for everybody. So let's see who got how things are going north of the border. Looks a bit cooler. You there,
Brian,
Tyler?
you cut out there. Oh, you cut on my end.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, everything's good. It's getting a little bit chillier, but other than that, it's fall. What do you expect?
Oh, I can see some fall colors in the background there. That's quite nice.
Ooh.
Oh, pretty colors.
Plants are doing pretty good.
Sorry, I didn't see it. Say again. This is a bit chaotic, man. Steve, how are you doing, sir?
Good, man. Good. All's good. Fall is starting to come around here as well.
Excellent.
Got a sweatshirt on today. So, yeah, all's good. Plants are good. I'm going to be transplanting tomorrow into the auto pop pots. Always
Okay, excellent.
good, man.
Very nice. Hey, and Underground, welcome, sir.
What's going on?
Impeccable timing. How are you doing?
Sir? How are you today?
Doing very well, thanks. Very good. Just chilling out here, seeing how things are going. And of course, we've also got Genetic Memory Farms. Welcome to the show, sir.
How's it going, folks? Good to see y'all. Thank you for having me on your platform. Nice to meet you guys, and nice to see y'all again.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody knows joining us on the breeding program side of things as well, but this panel is also open to and joining us, returning from season 1 well, I said participant, but somebody who took part in season 1. It wasn't a participant really, but it wasn't a competition. We've got Johnny. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Very well. Whereabouts are you at the moment?
I am at home in my grow room.
Very nice. Yeah, so Johnny was with us in season 1, is going to join us in season 4. And again, just so I think that we can, now that we've actually got everybody here, we can go into a little more detail of what the plan for season 4 is. So everybody's on board and knows what we should be doing. And just a quick shout out there. Hey, Smashed Cannabis and Dirtman Dan. Meow Flower, I don't know, Anna Nova, Richard D. Hope everybody's doing well. Richard, I hope you're recovering all right there from surgery and being able to get back into the grow room soon, I hope. So yeah, season 4. The idea being, do certain plant training techniques actually make a difference in terms of, and we're going to have to grade it on, I guess, 2 things: quality and quantity. Yeah, so does it increase the final biomass? But does that also, I mean, is that a key for quality? Who knows? Or does the biomass not necessarily go up, but the quality is much higher? And I guess that would have to be fairly subjective. Yeah, man, I freaked out for 4 days. Yeah, it's pretty good quality. And the different techniques are going to be one plant is as a control, so it just has the regular pruning and general maintenance done on it. You know, take off the dead leaves, and it's not being trained. It's just having regular maintenance performed on it. And then another plant is to be heavily leaf stripped. Again, I think we were trying to work out what would be the ideal timing on that, but I see people saying at like day 21 of flower, give it a heavy leaf strip, and then a little bit later on again. I guess whatever you do, just make sure you note down when you did it.
I usually end up doing it on day 21 and day 47.
Okay. And I mean, I did. There is, I think, to go pretty aggressive. I think that's, you know, looking at what people like Sour Tangy Diesel do. You know, there's just a few bud sites left. It's like, wow, okay. I mean, it's up to you how aggressive you want to go. And then the second one is just to pop the stems. So not enough to cause them to fall over, but just to damage the cell tissue all the way up. I mean, you can do it all the way up between the I think between each node, for instance.
Now, is that popping stems during veg as well as flower, or just flower?
Now that's a good question. I mean, when will techniques be used best? Johnny, do you have any experience when it comes to like doing the stem popping and that?
Yeah, I'll pop them whenever I need to. It's on my, if you got to make room sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to pack the canopy, and if you've got, you know, some plants are overshadowing other plants, you got to, you know, spread them wings open a little bit. Kick it off to the side a little bit, you know. Sometimes moving something over just an inch makes a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, Johnny, I hate to say, I think if you got a fan running in the back.
Oh yeah, can you want me turn
around there because it's make. Yeah, but it might help with the audio because it's trying to cut out the background noise and it keeps cutting your voice out.
I'll say really quick, Smash in chat. He mentioned that he leaves strips simply to get when he wants light to get where he wants it to get, and I think that's a good practical way to approach it.
Yeah, I mean, but this is taking that concept of, you know, like heavy leaf stripping improves yield, and it's not just that when I'm doing the regular pruning just to open up the canopy a bit, but you know, you see people just absolutely whip it, you know, take it down to bare stalk almost. Then so we've got the leaf stripping, got the stem popping, and I would
How is that? Is that better?
recommend that you do the pump between each better, Johnny. Do the pumping between each node and through veg, I guess, and into flower, or you can wait and just do it when you flip it into flower. That one is done when you just flip it into flower because you're trying. I don't know. Is the theory that those growth hormones help bud development because there's an excess of them.
Hey, Pete, your service is terrible, man. Your signal is horrible. You're freezing like every 10 seconds.
Yeah, it seems like.
All right, hold on. Let me try and reconnect. Hold on.
Hey, your voice isn't matching up with your lips anymore.
It's like a Chinese kung fu movie.
Yep. Which I like, man, but we don't have the subtitles here.
Is that better?
Definitely.
Better, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, switch to a different network. Okay, fine. Now that we are.
Oh, shit, you froze.
Yeah, he just froze.
Froze just as you did that.
Is it still doing it?
Not a second.
Okay, so is the audio better again?
Yeah, you're fine right now.
Cool. Yeah, no, I was taking the piss. I hope that was okay. So shit, what were we saying?
Popping stems during veg and flower. At what point we're gonna do it?
In flower and in veg chat, does anybody in chat have any ideas or comments on that? I would
Are
say.
we topping these things?
No.
Like I've not touched any of mine. I've just let them go so far.
The one is to do proper. And again, why do I always lose it on this one?
Super cropping?
Super cropping, that's the one, yeah.
You said you asked for chat. 4Plant and Smash are both, like 4Plant says, I like leaf stripping and popping every couple of days, but just a small bit of the plant, less stress in one go. I think that's a very interesting, very smart take on it, especially because you're not going to ever stress the plant out too much. And then Smash says, yeah, he's just doing it. He's talking more about deleafing, basically to make better use of his trellis and get them the light that he wants.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pop it between every node on the same day. The thing's probably just going to go collapse on itself.
It depends on how healthy your plant is. That's really what it comes down to. If your plant is healthy and booming on fucking 100% go mode, you can torture that thing until you think you're gonna murder it. Then 2 days later, the thing doesn't look like you did anything to it. It depends on what you're comfortable with and how healthy your plant is.
And so, what cut? What cut are you going to be using, Johnny?
I'm not sure. I have a few going, but I have. How long is this one going?
This is going to be, the idea really is for it to be a fairly quick turnaround on this one, and that's why we're doing it from cuts and not going from seed, so we don't have to go through an extended veg period.
Because I have some GMOs that are in my cloner rooted that are ready to go right now, but that's a 2.5-3 month flower time. So
sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, Tyler Underground, where are you guys at? I mean, are you guys 2 weeks out from flower, 4 weeks out? Where are you guys at?
I am 3 weeks out from flower because just like Johnny said, I was gonna go with GMO, but I switched over using something totally different. GMO takes too long, like in flower. So
right.
I got about 3-4 weeks.
All right, so call it. You want to call it like the first of the month we flip?
1st of November. Yep.
Does that work for you, Johnny?
Yep.
That's
and then
I move on the 29th.
No pressure.
Halloween.
Yeah, well, as I was saying, the scariest mask this season is no mask.
Sure.
All right, then yeah. So flip into the flip is on then, and so it just needs to be 4 plants, same cut. 4 of the same cut. Now the other interesting thing, Johnny, if I'm not mistaken, you've got bucket company buckets, haven't you? Is that what you use?
I do. Yeah, I'm actually trying to work it out with them. Hopefully, I'm going to be working out a little sponsor thing with my grow here with them. Hopefully.
No, cool. Because.
But yeah, I do have a couple of their setups. Yeah, so I was gonna, and I'm actually like 2 weeks away from harvest, so I can actually run it.
Because the nice thing about that is, because everybody else is, I think, going to be using their autopot system again, is it's the fact that all 4 plants get the same treatment. There's no having to do something different for each one. They're all getting, they're all in the same tent, same grow medium, same nutrient regime. So really what's being tested is what's being done to the plants. That's the element that we're trying to test, and that's why we have that control one to compare these 3 different methods against. Because if at the end of it, all 3 methods go, well, actually the one that you did nothing to yielded a better quality and quantity, it's just a waste of time to go in and do all of this shit. Just do minimal maintenance. That would be an interesting one to find out.
Yeah, for sure. I think it will be. But I think the only thing that I have ready to go right now is some CBD cuts that I have, but they're a 1-to-1 ratio. I haven't flowered them yet, so this will be interesting.
I'm in the same boat. I got some flowered before too.
Yeah. Like I got some other cuts. I'm a cut whore. I'm terrible. I have probably 20 different cuts I could pick from, but as far as like clothes that I could probably ready, realistically, my CBD clones are just about rooted right now. So it's a fucking, I forget what it's called.
Yeah, and
CBD
these are all
Bomb, I think it's called CBD Bomb from North Star Genetics. It's really good.
I can see.
I'm actually about to chop down some Sunkiss from Rasta Jeff from Irie.
Very nice.
It's gonna be super nice, super nice.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an Irie genetics kind of fanboy
Yeah, I know.
pretty much.
I know.
Yeah, I must say that I think I was fortunate enough
Cool,
to
though.
sample
Much
quite a
love
few
to
of
Rasta
it
Jeff.
now.
Much love.
He does some really nice strains. Yeah.
He does. The reason actually why I'm growing these out is I locally in my area I help out a couple veterans with flower medicine, whatever, CBD, whatever they need help with that they can't afford. So a good chunk of each of my harvests actually gets donated to them, and he generously donated me a couple packs of beans to go forth, to help out. So that's
Nice.
yeah, it was nice. Him and Mr. Soul actually. I do something with both of those guys. They help me out.
Yeah, cool. And what grow medium is everybody going to go with this time around? What are people opting for? Underground. What are you choosing?
Probably cocoa.
Cocoa for you, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm gonna run with cocoa this time. But after that, I'll be switching back.
Why?
And are you going to go with the new millennium nutrients? Is that what you're going to do?
Why?
Like finish them up?
Because after test and after tastage, like, dude, cocoa compares nothing to soil. I have higher terpene range within soil. And once the plant from the greenhouse matures and I get the testing on that, we're going to compare test.
Well, your soil's living, right?
Yeah.
So what about your cocoa? Is your cocoa amended?
Oh, no, but it was used with new millennium nutrients.
Yeah, last season was a case of running
they're
on the bottle to see how it went.
Based. That's a minerally based line, I believe, right? Bill, I believe it is, right?
Yeah.
So they're, I guess, organically derived in some way or another. But yeah, of course, dude. Obviously, organic cannabis is always going to taste better. Doesn't matter what anybody says. From Mother Earth. Come on, man.
And yourself, Lefty, what are you going to be using?
I'm going to do the cocoa again. I actually, when I potted my clones, I did like my old cocoa soil perlite mix, but it does have some Roots Organic mixed in with it right now. But I'll probably go at least 50% cocoa to perlite when I do my mix, and then probably like organic. I'm probably gonna be done with the cocoa.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see to run it with
straight cocoa.
What was soil in it or something like that? See how that would go. Because as I was saying, Ben was seeing, they're seeing good results
out of a bag.
Yeah, I just go
results for people trying to sort of it. And then sorry, Tyler. What are you gonna go? You gonna go with cocoa as well?
Yeah, I got a big can of cocoa sitting by.
So that's cocoa all
Probably
around this run.
Gonna give it one more go round, man. One more go round.
Well, I mean, fair enough. I mean, it's what you really should do with anything new. The first time, it's usually like what's going on. Second time, you can dial it in a bit.
I'm kind of with Underground where he stands on it, but I'm gonna give it one more try. I'm gonna give it one more try with the new millennium. I'm gonna try and dry out my soil. I'm gonna figure out how to dry out that soil because I didn't care for that. I don't care for it being saturated like that all the time. So I'm gonna try and figure out a way to, if I gotta set an alarm to remind me to turn the damn reservoir back on or something. But yeah, I gotta figure out a way to dry that out. I don't like it being wet all the time.
Yeah. Or if you put one of the little valves in, oh yeah, you've got 4 pots, haven't you?
Is
so otherwise
everybody
you can.
using New Millennium?
From I don't know if you're still using New Millennium, but last season it was New Millennium nutrients. So I think people still have a bit left over from that to be able to do another run with.
I feel like I'm left out here. I feel like I should order something.
No. This season isn't about the nutrients in it.
No, I know. I need it.
Underground's running
It's cool.
raw. I think Underground's running something called raw. So Underground's switching up this.
Oh, raw? Yeah.
No, I mean, I may switch up the raw, but I got enough to run this whole, whole way through with a New Millennium.
Oh, I thought you were switching. My bad.
But I think if we go with a longer veg time, then definitely I would switch up.
Yeah.
But I got enough to run like a quick veg, and flip.
Yeah.
So what do you use with your cocoa, Johnny?
Right now I'm running Floraflex.
Okay.
And I have a fuck ton of Green Planet Medi One. They sent me a fuckload of shit.
Now I must say the mystery grower last season used the Green Planet range of nutrients, and that's actually the recommended, I think, range, partnered range, whatever, with all the Autopot system. But
yeah.
It's got that resin one, is it? And the other, and they're really sweet smelling. And you could make a horrible mistake going, "Oh, that's juice."
Yeah, you could. It. I've almost wanted to taste it. It has like this. You know what saffron looks like?
Yeah.
You know how it's like almost a magenta, bright reddish, pinkish. And then it hits like liquid and it almost turns like a yellowish red.
Yeah, it goes green.
Ish. It depends how much you use. But that's what the hue of that reminds me of. But I guess that's something that comes they derive that, I guess, something to do with bees. That has something to do with bees. That particular. Do I have it?
I don't have any.
No, I don't have any of it. I don't have any of it. But no, Green Planet, they have a great line. They have a really, really good line. Their Medi One is great. It's organic now. Now it's Omri certified now. It's a fish based line. Phenomenal line. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to see what the big deal with Floraflex was. But I love it. It's great. It's nice and it's fucking tip.
Yeah. And then what amendments do you use? Because I mean, like on the last season, everybody was just using, it was kind of a case like for the beginner grower, you buy these menus, follow it, looking and see, what is the results, which would be like, okay, you've got to, it's a little, what was clearly evident from the season is it's a little bit more than just read what it says on the bottle. It's also read what the plants are saying. It really is. It is a little misguided when they say, oh, week 1, do this, week 2, do that. You've got to be a little bit, recharge, of course.
SLF 100.
Yep, I run that.
And what's that for? Which the SLF?
That's an enzyme.
Okay, so it'll help break down old roots.
That's good for the flush, but I use it. They're cauliflower and flush.
And even during the veg stage, it's good to use it.
Yeah, I'll kick some in there once in a while.
You're gonna have to
do that.
No.
That's what's fucking weird. This is a Tribus bottle. I don't know why that isn't showing up. That's weird.
That Tribus, that's really good stuff.
Yeah, I run this. I have a little thing worked out with those guys too. I'm trying to as well. And then just fucking Cali Magic. That's just for my Cal Mag. And then just the Floraflex line. That's it. Like when I transplant, I'll use Azos and Mycos.
Yeah. And then do you stop using the recharge? I take you don't use it through flower. Is it just during the veg cycle? Do you use it the whole way through?
I run it. I run that bitch until like I'm flush and nothing. Like the last week, if I have a 9-week strain, I'll run it 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I run it. I love recharge. Recharge is great.
Oh, the watermelon certainly like, and the chilies really enjoy it in the greenhouse.
And for the price that they charge for it, it's such a fair product. Like,
and it goes a long way.
Like you get more than what you pay for. I feel like it's. But those guys are great at.
And a good community behind them there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I run. It might seem like a lot, I guess, but it's really not.
And have you switched out? Are you under LED? I think everybody here is growing under LED.
Yeah, I have all LEDs now. Yeah, I moved when I was part of the show. The first season I had my grow room that I had built, but I had to move, so I live in a condo now, and I can't I can and I can't build a room here. It's just it just wouldn't make too much sense for me to get crazy like that here. So I have a 3-bedroom. I just have a room full of tents now.
Yeah, I mean, it means you can divide it up, and they can be in different stages doing different things rather than one whole big space.
I have my 4x4 little veg tent, and then I have a 5x5 flower tent, and then I have a 4x8 flower tent.
Very nice, very nice.
And those are all
bastards. You bastards in your legal states.
And then I have, and they're all under LEDs, and one CMH, 315 CMH. Hortilux, one of their new joints.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, I wonder. I mean, does anybody know what the thinking behind these stress training techniques are? I mean, for instance, the leaf stripping, I can kind of get in terms of the plant thinking. I mean, is it all just to stress it? That's the only game that you're playing here, is just simply to stress the game, or do they call, each type of stress training you do have a particular end goal in mind? Like, if I do this, it increases the terpene profile, because if I leaf strip it, it thinks it's being eaten, so its natural plant reaction is to push out more.
Well, you like to think like that.
Pungent terpenes, maybe.
I like to play scientist and think like that. Yeah. I don't know if it always works out like that, but I like to think like that.
I mean, that's the point. Is that what the thinking is? Is that why, and is that where these different ideas come from? And who discovered it? What results?
The knuckle popping is supposed to help plants they're not able to support themselves without scrogging. That's everything I've read about that. Like, that's supposed to help plants that stretch through that have a heavy bud structure that can't, hold their own weight. The knuckle popping
so that helps. Yeah,
it's supposed to actually help them hold that weight.
You break the membrane and that shit.
It's supposed to come back as a callus and make the stem stronger.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what that pop. So therefore, so in other words, you would say that. Well, not in other words, but popping this thing allows for a greater yield, because the plant can hold more under its natural without you having to support it. Because as soon as the branches start collapsing, it stops putting weight on, because it knows those branches have collapsed. So if it can keep the branches up longer naturally without support, it's going to put on a greater yield. So that's kind of that would lead to bigger yield, but maybe the leaf stripping leads to a totally different. An increase in terpene profile, because you're not that's not causing the plant to be any stronger when you're taking all that off. In fact, it's got to spend more time suddenly producing leaves rather than flower.
Power SI. I forgot about that. I use it too. My
Power
bad.
SI.
Yeah, I run this too.
And what is that? I don't know the brand.
Silica.
Oh, okay.
I might be able to throw in a little something from a slightly different perspective as far as stressors go. When we're replicating yeast, that's how we actually get it to, well, okay, I'll put it this way. Saccharomyces pasteurianus, well, named after Louis Pasteur, is what we know as lager yeast, right? There's two different groups. One group has 2 copies of the ale yeast complete genomes and has another copy of the wine genome. The other group has 1 copy of each. When those evolved, that was recently. That was probably in the 14 to 1600s with the invention of lager brewing. So as a result, that was a yeast strain that really grew and adapted and hybridized itself purely out of stressors. So I think when you're talking about applying stressors, it depends on, are you talking about a living system? So if you're stressing out the microlife, the yeast are going to behave, the fungi, I should say, yeast are single-celled fungi, but the fungi and the bacteria, especially if they're stressed out, are going to behave in one way. Whereas I think if you're stressing the plant in a salt environment, you're talking a completely different mechanism, because in a living environment, it's got to use its leaves to store nutrients and to move water, etc., sugars. Otherwise, it's constantly having to pull them up from the ground. It's constantly having to synthesize new ones and pull them up. So those leaves are actually storages for it. Now, in a salt system, I don't know if the plant has a different mechanism that it's not necessarily trying to store salts in the leaves, but it's able to faster cycle them up. I don't know the difference there, but I can tell you in a biological system, when we're talking about fungi and bacteria, their responses to stress are evolutionary.
I mean, this isn't store. I mean, when you're feeding plants with salt-based nutrients, it's not storing salts in the system. It's just that it's got ready access to the raw material it wants without having to do any kind of processing of it or anything around it having to process it to make it available. It's that sushi conveyor belt going past, and it just takes what it wants as it wants it. No effort required.
Salts is like feeding with an IV. That's how I look at it when you're feeding salts. You're just feeding with an IV somewhere.
Like a recycling IV.
Yeah.
Like their Gitmo.
I mean, the best way to actually see how a plant works in a salt-based system is when you take DWC and you run a DWC system and you actually then track the ppm and the pH and that of that tank, and you'll watch how it'll do different things at different stages of growth and different conditions. So like when it's really hot, you'll watch the ppms climb because it's not taking any nutrients out. It just wants to drink. So it's just taking water out of the system. It's actually forcefully not wanting to take nutrients. In cooler conditions, then you find that the ppm start to dip. It's hungry. It's the same like us. On a cool winter's day, you want a warm, hearty meal. On a hot, sunny day, you just want a cold drink. You don't really want the meal, sort of thing.
Well, so I guess what I would say is, I think there's going to be a definite, my hypothesis is there would be a definite difference in the way the two systems respond to stress. Whether one is full of microlife or one is not full of microlife would have a definite difference.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And then you'll get some cultivars are not going to like being stressed in certain ways. I mean, it just you run the risk on some of them where that is going to cause that self-preservation gene to kick in, and you're certainly going to have self-pollinating cannabis and woohoo, seed bank.
Going back to like what we were talking about, though, some of these methods might not even be necessary for the plant that you're messing with. Like there might be no reason to super crop it or to pop and twist it.
Yeah, exactly.
There may be no reason to do that. I mean, everything has a reason, and everything's going to cause a different hormonal effect in the plant. You might pop and twist one plant for years and it does this. Well, you pop and twist another plant and it it doesn't like it. So, everything's going to cause a different, even in the same plant, if you leaf strip it or you pop it or twist it, everything's going to cause a different hormonal response.
And this is now when you're going to start to be able to trigger some other hidden potential phenotypic expression. which you're not going to see normally. You know, if you do this to this particular plant, that will suddenly cause this to happen. You stress it in this way, and it causes, you know, some plants that drop in temperature. That's the stress signal that tells it, you know, you get the purpling starting to happen. So, you know, you could start to see some interesting things there. Maybe, wow, that's part of finding out. But then also with this test, you'll find out which technique works best for this cultivar. And maybe it's something that when you're looking at trying to grow this, if you're going to do monocrop grows, is to do a test and figure out which technique works for this cultivar. Do it with a few plants. Run it against one that is considered the what's the word? The control subject. And then you know when you're doing it, are you wasting your time or not? No, actually, hey, this is the technique I should be doing. It gives me the biggest bang for the buck.
I just super cropped these clones' mom, so we'll see how it reacts to that. The clone's mom's in flower, so we'll see. I get a little bit of a jump start on what it's going to look like, but not too much.
And so if you want to try and slow the growth down in that stretch phase, and you know when they kick into flower, then popping the stems every other day or so will help to prevent that massive stretch.
That's been done already. I had to see.
Well, depending on how much stretch. Sorry?
Said if you can control your reds on your lights, your red diodes, if you have them. I don't know what your lights are, but
yeah, things got a little backed up around here.
What are them problems?
Good problem to have, it sounds like.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. So what else here? Anything else exciting happening? Anybody been up to any mischief? No.
Someone walked away with one of my outdoor plants this year. It just took about, I don't know, it was probably a good 2-pounder. They walked away with, yeah, and it was ready too. It was ready.
Thing is, my cousin Trip knows exactly how you fucking feel. My cousin Trip was prepared to put up some rather nasty, I'm gonna fucking catch you next time traps involving fishing hooks and 100-pound breaking strain nylon. Because I tell you what, the one thing you're not doing is pulling hard to pull away when it's 100-pound breaking strain. You're staying there until someone cuts you free.
Yeah, no, they took whoppers right to my plant. They came right in and snipped.
Man, that
I was
sucks.
drying it out. I was letting the medium dry out, and I was gonna snip it. I went out there to check on it one last time. The next day, I'm like, all right, sick. One more night. Fucking, they hit me at the perfect fucking time.
I think I know this was done on Portland. Well, no, it's not called the Portland cannabis testing thing anymore. What's it called now? The chronic table?
Humidors thing?
Yeah.
I forget what
Yes, chronic table.
Chronic tables. Or chronic table, because the rippers in Tank Girl, which were those kangaroo creatures.
Hey, look, man, you got to put up you got to put this contains no THC sign up. This is only hemp. Research project only. Once you throw that sign up, you'll see, hey, look, all you do is watch your camera. You can see a lot of people walk up to your fence and be like, throwing their hat down, mad, walking away, and all types of shit. Yeah.
No.
If I can show you my footage from my
I should have.
Dude, you laugh your ass
I
off.
thought of that.
So you shouldn't be giving that away.
Well, I tell you what, as Raptor Grower in chat says, he's working on Lego caltrops. Yeah, I tell you what, dude, just throw handfuls of Lego bricks around Yeah, fuck, nobody's walking
So
in.
true.
I couldn't. That would be good too. That would be great. But my kid goes out there with me and plays. He'd want to go out there and play with the bricks and then help me with my plant. He likes to play with the plant.
Plants, kids.
No, I'm trying to teach him to love the plants. He loves them. He loves it. He just
And I
want to
will
go out
just
there
throw
and
this
play
out.
with them.
I'll just throw this out as a legal disclaimer. Catco v. Briney in 1971, Supreme Court case. You cannot booby trap your place in the United States. No matter what you do, you are liable for it.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that here either, as it turns out.
Yeah.
They look poorly on that. There are some countries where,
Legal
dude, when you
disclaimer.
step onto my property, if you are uninvited, and South Africa is one of those countries, I can shoot you stone cold dead and not go to court for it.
Dig a big ass hole and be like, man, I was just working on fucking a hole. I was just digging a hole.
Also in the United States,
Yeah, he fell in, and I don't know, all this soil fell in on top of him. Man, fuck, how did that happen?
do not have a beware of dog sign if your dog bites people, yo. Just I'm letting you know that. Have dog on premises, because if you have a beware of dog sign,
Then you know it bites.
You know it bites. Just giving you a little bit of free help there.
I like the one that says, in this current time financial hardship, I cannot afford a warning shot. I hope you understand and appreciate.
That's good. I like that one.
Oh, man. You know, I've also been just doing some tinkering on a new interface for the
Field grow
thing.
Minder thing?
Minder. Yeah, the thing. Yeah. It's almost. It's getting there. It's getting there. Oh, where did it go? Shit, there. So, like an idea for the new dashboard. It's why did I do that? I've already got it running. Where these will update in like every minute. They automatically update from data from the sensors, and they sit there and tick and go over. It's just a slightly different display of it. I don't know what you guys think of this dials as opposed to the other ones. And do you prefer a light background or a dark background? That's another thing. I know for mobile devices, having the dark background can save your battery life. But for PC and that, maybe the white background's better.
I don't know.
If I were using the system on a mass scale, my choice is between this and the other, so a waveform, and the other one's a real-time dial.
Yeah, well, these are the charts. So yeah, this updates every minute from the data coming in from the sensors.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what the old one looked like.
I don't remember how to log in. So this is the other one, the current one. I say the other one, the current one. And actually, I've got the dials turned off. Oh, there's a lot to still do. Shit. When I look at the.
I'm sorry.
This is the old style dials, and these don't update automatically. You've got to refresh the page for these ones to update. Whereas this is live every
something that auto updates
every minute, because it can put quite a strain on the system. And the old charts, well, they're not quite. They're fine. Again, this is still early, same charting library, but you choose hour back to 4 weeks. But on the new one, I did it where you have a slider and you pick how many days data you want to look at, and so you can look at 1 day, and it then does just the straight readings. It does the VPD chart. It also does cumulative difference, and it does a difference chart. And this is probably more on the analytic side, these cumulative difference and difference ones. But then you can also jump out to 31 days of data. is a dev site. It's not designed to be quick. And then you get 31 days. And of course, you can drag to zoom in, and you can also pan around to look at it. And they're on different axes, so you can, well, to ambient, the humidity is on a different axis to the temperature data because it can vary quite dramatically in terms of this is in Celsius, and the other one, is in percentages.
Shout out to all my data nerds. You guys will love this.
And the cumulative difference one, this is really allowing you to see how your environment's drifting over time. Is it drifting up? Is it drifting down? So I could go in here and have a look and see if I look at the very end. Actually, since this started, it's dropped by 1.1 degrees Celsius overall over 31 days. The difference between now and then is minus 1.1 degrees Celsius. I mean, there were times when it dropped down. Yep.
Richard D asked, is that a mobile app? And Smash Cannabis asked, is that for the P&L system?
Yeah, this will be for the P&L growth system. Yeah. And it will be, it's not mobile app. I mean, the web page is an application. So you can just put a shortcut to it on your phone's desktop, and it just takes you straight to the web page, which is what most people do with the app.
It's just my home page.
Yeah. I think the paradigm shift is to think that the web browser is the actual program itself, and it can just run all sorts of different programs. It just does the GUI rendering bit. And all those apps require you to. No, it'll always just be web browser based. Those apps, to use them, you need to have an internet connection. And why install another? I mean, I look at it from the point of view, I don't want to install more software on people's phones. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have to then worry about security issues on what version it's running on. I'll let the browser people worry about that. Google, Microsoft, and Apple can spend a lot more money on keeping that shit tight. So that's the idea there.
For a UI, you probably still want to optimize it for mobile, like the black background and all that, just because even if they're home, a lot of people take their phone out of their pocket.
Yeah. I mean, and there's two aspects to this whole platform. There is the casual use it on your phone, which is where you have, these sorts of dials, and it's just having a glance at it. But when you want to take a deep dive into the actual data itself, you do that on a desktop or on a laptop. It's not something you do on a mobile phone. You don't have the screen real estate to be able to take a proper look at the stuff. So it all gets scaled down, and it's sort of, the UI features and what's available are limited on the phone. But as soon as you log in on a PC or a laptop or something, it's just got more screen real estate, you can suddenly do a lot more with it. And it's a lot more comfortable to use. Yeah. But this is still early stages. I mean, I'm hoping to roll it out probably January the 1st kind of thing. New year, roll it out with a whole new interface. Changes to the database in the back end to make it more responsive and a little bit quicker. There you go. You watch the change. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing quietly in the background. Geeking out.
Speaking of quietly in the background, I'll give a shout out to Fumador and the Flavors. He stopped in the chat. He'll be running his show tonight for the Brews Buds. Basically, it's just a little chat show to have a beer or have a coffee or have a whatever you like and talk about bud and whatever you like. So he'll be doing that tonight, I believe.
Nice. What time is that? Do you know?
I believe I'm usually tied up still with stuff at the moment, but I believe he usually kicks off about, let's see, his time, I think it's like 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock.
Okay, so that's Pacific time, isn't it? So yeah, it's late.
Yeah.
See you in the morning.
Earlier, though. Here, let me ask him. What time do you start, Fumi? Let me keep an eye there for you. We'll get that for sure. Yeah. I'll take up some time and tell you, like I said, I'm planning to do a Malawi Cobb experiment with a sous vide machine. I'm basically it's 8 p.m. Pacific. There we go.
11 Eastern Standard. Okay.
Yeah.
So
okay.
5 hours. Yeah, that's late.
But I'm going to take basically some fresh cut, compress it into a sealable shape, in something that's waterproof. I'm assuming that's part of the corn cobs, the corn structure, or did it actually breathe? Well, we won't know until I run the experiment. So does it need to be able to breathe while it ferments? If people were successfully doing it sealed in a vacuum sealing bag, then I'm thinking that means it doesn't necessarily need to be exposing to oxygen. So I think I should be able to take...
Yeah, but you're not. You're okay. So you roll the way you make the cob is you take your weed, you take the cob itself. You know the sheath, whatever it is, the husk. Take that, roll it up you pack it in, roll it up tight. Use like a sushi roller to roll the thing up, bamboo roller, and then bind it so it stays compact. Take that. Now, normally that whole thing would then be stuck in the ground. In the wild, they would just stick it in the ground, cover it up, and leave it alone. Come back in 12 months. I mean, they leave it for ages when they do it in the ground. But here, what you're doing is you then take that, stick it into a vacuum seal bag, seal it, take that bag, stick that in something that's at 40 degrees Celsius for, I think it's just 24 hours, and then take it out. And that's called the sweating process. So you get it to sweat because it's not dry bud that you use, it's damp bud that you're still using, fresh-ish bud. And then you go from there and you keep it at like 30 degrees Celsius for another week in a airing cupboard. Is usually a good place to put it where it's going to be a constant temperature. And then it's ready to go, technically. What you could do is then you open it and just leave it in a jar, sealed up, for however long you want to keep it. I mean, it'll keep for a very, very long time. Or you can put it back in the vacuum seal it up, and let it just stay like that until you're ready to consume it.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the same time and temperature yields, right? But because I have the ability to control it, I'm going to go ahead and take one of my old brewing buckets, one of my old food grade buckets. I'll fill it with water. I'll put a thermalizer or a sous vide machine in it. I'll start running that at the set temperatures, and I'll just take a jar that's watertight, seal it, drop it in, and let it go. And that way I can try to take out some of I'm trying to get just part of the way I brew beer, I make kombucha, all the stuff is I try to take out a lot of the technical steps, and I try to cut to figuring out, okay, what is the mechanism I'm using and how can I effectively isolate what's going on? So that's what I mean. Like, I'm going to see if this works. We'll find out. If not, I'll waste some bud, but I think it's worth figuring it out. So I think that's the actual experiment. Because from what you're saying, I've seen that online on IC Mag after Cascadian Grown was nice enough to point it out to me, and you were nice enough to point it out to me, that's how I believe you guys did. So sorry if I failed in that accreditation. But I think I'm just going to yield the information from that, and I'll run it with a more controlled system, if that makes sense.
I mean, if you can put it in the vacuum, I mean, the thing is, you don't want it getting wet, you know. So that's what you want to put in the vacuum sealed bag for. But a sous vide that could just hold it at that temperature constantly for, perfect.
And I've used this system before to make edibles and stuff like that. It's a really awesome infusion system because you just take the jar, load what you want in it, drop it in, and it's watertight, especially because the water is at temperature and what's inside has a mass. So that actually forces down onto the seal of the jar because it's a canning jar anyway. So it basically starts the canning process for you, but it takes what's inside of it and it holds it at that temperature as long as you want it for whatever. So I've done it with glycerin to extract and make some wicked potent edibles from just stems. I've added some keef to that and made something that was irresponsibly potent. So there's a lot of fun to be had, and the sous vide machines are very cheap right now. And if you want to be able to cook like a perfect turkey for the holidays, you don't want to screw around with having it in the oven for 8 hours, they're great because you break all the pieces down, you cook them separately in a bag with some butter and seasonings, and then when it's time to serve, you just warm them up and brown them with your dab torch. Shit you not, it's the fastest way to serve the best Thanksgiving dinner. And you can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can, like I said, do this kind of stuff. Like I'm going to try.
You know how to make homemade wine?
Oh, absolutely. As I first made my first.
I'm gonna give you a little hint, right? Next time, take about a good quarter, maybe 14 grams, some cheesecloth, and then take your 14 grams, put it in that cheesecloth, and just put that cannabis in the bottom of that, and let it sit in there.
Dry hop it.
Yeah, let it sit in there with that while you're making your homemade wine. Then tell me what you think about that.
Should it
I've
stay
had
in
some people
during
make some
fermentation or should it go in
vicious.
after fermentation?
No, during fermentation. You ferment.
Okay.
Yeah, you ferment. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
I
like
will
2,
do
3,
that.
and then it's like, yeah. People have like
I
a
will
shot
report.
and go, "Oh, that was nothing." It's like, yeah, all right. No, don't. Oh, fuck! You just drank a glass of it. All right then.
You're also
I'm
talking to a
selling
guy like I
tickets
got
to the
probably 80
crazy show.
gallons of barley. I can make a beer with that.
I tinkered out a half ounce of I think it was Blue Dream back in the day, and added it to a beer with the second dry hop in it. It was fucking tasty, and man, that was the most relaxing beer you ever drink in your life. It was great. It was great. I think we
That's
used like
awesome.
Greek bourbon, like a really, really high proof bourbon is what we used. I'm sure we could have got more out of it with like Everclear or something, but that wasn't really the point. It was just kind of to give it a little bit of a.
You want the flavor.
Yeah, I mean, if you steep it if you just take it and steep like vodka, put an eighth of bud into a bottle of vodka and just left it alone for a week, you're gonna have some interesting go with woe juice. I've got the wobbles.
If you want to do that, we can actually do a reverse distillation. This is a trick that you can do. We do it with hops once in a while to make a hop concentrate. That way you can make a shitty beer better. So what you do is you extract in you take one of those little tea presses or whatever, coffee presses. You can vary it how strong you want it. In this case, we'd use hops. In the other case, you could use cannabis. But it's room temperature vodka. Let it steep for a little while. Press it. Pour it. Water, typically a little warmer, not hot or boiling, but warmer. Press it. Add it to that vodka. Now you've lowered it to just to the point where it'll freeze in your freezer, right? So then you take that, put it in a freezing bottle, something you can get really cold, whether it's plastic or whatever, put it in your freezer, let it set. Pull it out, open the cap, set it upside down onto a pitcher or something like that. And the first things that run out are going to be the alcohol components, which have all the things that you want solulated into it. And it's going to run clear. So if you ever want to try to do an actual reverse distillation, so instead of heating it, you use the fact that it's frozen coming up to room temperature to concentrate the alcohol. That's always something you can do. Like I said, we do it with hops to make something we can drop a couple drops in a beer and make it taste better.
Yeah. That whole
Too much for me, but that seems pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's like when they make that. Well, no, ice wine's a slightly different process because that's using frozen grapes and getting like one drop of juice out of the grape, and that's why it's so bloody expensive.
You're thinking of an
really
ice pop,
nice.
or what we would call, well, the New Jersey Turnpike. I got into this on my Eagle episode, but the New Jersey Turnpike was paid for with basically liquor that was made from concentrated hard cider done by freezing. So they'd make hard cider. They'd concentrate it by freezing, and that was used as payment to build the original New Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah, and ice distillation, what they call it. Yeah, something like. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good way of doing it. I mean, you can do it with a bottle of wine. You can get the alcohol out of a bottle of wine, stick it in a freezer, do it slowly.
Again, safety disclaimer. If you do this, it's good to do this with something that's already been made and had the methanoic acid removed, because when you do this with your own fermentations, you will concentrate methanoic acid, and that can be potentially dangerous. So if you're doing it with vodka, that's completely clear because it's already had the methanoic acid removed. You're not going through another fermentation. But anytime you concentrate a distillation, you are making methanoic acid, and that is dangerous. So I wouldn't, that's why I don't reverse distill at home. That's why I don't make a beer, set it out to freeze. I don't do any of that because I don't want to concentrate methanoic acid. But an ice beer is different because you only take a little out. But I never make a hard liquor through reverse distillation. But
it's a way you could take a 25% spirit and boost it.
Yes, because it's already clean.
Yeah, it's already gone through that process. Yeah. Right, yeah. And what's everybody's flavor of the moment? As also, what's everybody smoking on?
That dog head.
Yeah. Has it got you?
Right now, I am smoking on some cherry gelato.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Oh, that looks like lemon chef. No, not what am I saying? Lemon cherry, golden goat.
That it is.
Fancy Mylar pack. Ooh, look at that.
Hang on a second. Let's put that on spotlight. Hold it there. Hold it. Back it up a little bit. Maybe put your hand in front of it. Your face still in the way, mate. Very nice. And how are you finding it?
It definitely does the trick.
Yeah, looking at that
Usually,
face.
Oh, it's got a lot more earthy taste now after I've cured it. But yeah, the profile's changed completely. It went from like a sweet to a musky.
Hang on, what have you got there? Let's see what we got. Orange Gasm. That's a decent looking nug. Yeah, you need to put it's focusing on your face. You suffer from the same problem that Tyler has. You have a face.
Yeah.
Ah, bastard. I think you're just too close. Yeah, it won't focus that close. Son of a bitch. Yeah. Anyway. And yourself, Underground, have you...
I'm smoking on dispensary today. I will break out the jars Wednesday. That will be the 2-week cure period. I'll break them out to see how they really fared up. Oh, an update too. Now look, remember how I said my stalks were solid?
Yeah.
Well, after trimming up and cutting some of the branches, the upper portion of branches, like the upper levels, everything was hollow.
Yeah. I think that's definitely...
the lower four were solid.
Yeah.
And everything above was hollow.
That's definitely something the mystery grower noticed as well, is that the lower half or so of the plant was all solid, and as soon as it started to branch out a bit, that's when they went hollow, and the end of all the branches were hollow.
Yeah.
And noticed that on both the Orange Gasm and the Golden Goat.
Golden Goat.
Yeah. They have common heritage?
Mine was all hollow.
Yeah,
all the way
Golden
through.
Goat's the mother.
Yeah, golden goat. So that would be potentially a golden goat trait that's coming through in the Orange Gasm.
Well, I'll let you know how the sun kiss works, because I'm about to chop that in about a week or two.
But I have noticed that my terps have changed. I do still have the sun-kissed smell in the one, but it's not as strong, and the other ones are more earthy orange.
I agree. Like my smells have all really faded.
Yeah.
They still have orange terps to them, but honestly, the one that smells the best right now was that little fucking stick.
How are you curing it?
I dried those dried for 11 to 13 days. And then I dry in 60% humidity and about 68 degrees is what I try to get my room set at. And then I just jar cure them and I burp them once a day.
Keep them in you keep them in the cold. Do you keep them cool, or your jars cool and dark?
Basement area. Yeah.
Just try and if you can get your temps down a little colder, man. 70 degrees, 68 degrees seems kind of warm to me.
Yeah. Let's just stick them in the refrigerator. It ain't getting any colder.
Yeah.
That's what's good about my area. My area stays 65. Like I don't go above 65, and my humidity stays at 60, 55. So the area that's yeah.
And sorry, Janae, what are you smoking on there, dude? I can see something sitting on a jar, tempting us.
Oh, well, I'm really boring, so I'm always basically only got what I got. So this is PCK by Superdog. So this should be an F3. This was just a lower bud, so just happened to be what's in this jar.
Pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. I think this one is number 7 of all the ones I've run so far, and that's the way I do it. I just catalog them because I have a very limited plant count. I just have to keep copious notes. So, and I think so far this one has been number 7 and number 1 have been my favorite so far.
Nice. And so, and that F3, how many?
Well, this is where I'm not sure. Okay, I'll explain where it came from because this guy deserves some credit. There used to be a guy named Root Seller, and he was way back in the day in Colorado. I asked around on some forums, and someone said, he had something bad happen to him basically, and he disappeared, like he dropped off the map. So if he's out there, give me a shout because you do some good work. At least I think so far. So it was from Root Seller, and when I got it, I was, because it's not on the package, but I was told it was an F2. Do I know that for certain? No. Could it be an F1 because it wasn't labeled on the package? Probably. That would be my first guess. But so I call it an F3 just out of caution. I don't want to be presumptuous. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering if you pop like a bunch of them and they're in the F3 range. Like, what did you see? Like a good amount of variety, consistency.
Yeah. Okay. So far, there's 2 structural variations. One is going to stay largely straight up. The other is going to try to, because I always, when I run them the first time, I try to just let them be. I don't mess with them. The other is going to try to throw a lot of branches from the bottom. When it comes to flowering, there's 3 different types. There's one that'll turn a little more purple when it gets cold. There's one that will just turn purple on the edges of the leaves, but then in the same temperature, it'll stay green. Then there's another phenotype that'll actually stay green. That phenotype seems to express the most crystal content, like it's visibly the most crystally, like it stands out. So, and that one's number 1. Number 7 has the most interesting color and flavor, and that's the one that looks the most purple. The one that shot in the middle, I think that one, the last one I had of that was like number 8 or something. But like I said, I just track them by number, and then I typically let them go unless I think there's a reason to keep them. And so I will keep my mail handy, and every single one of them will get hit with that mail. And then the one that's worth keeping, I keep those and I'll work with those. The one that's not worth keeping, I don't. So my habit, because I have such a limit of numbers, is to hit every single thing with something. That way, later, I have it when I decide, no, this is the one that I should have done.
Yeah, because that's a smart idea, because also when you're working with certain lines, certain sisters may pass on traits to where the other one that stands out, your keeper pheno may not pass those traits on, but her sister may pass those on. So yeah.
Which means then I just have to, this is why I take on students a lot of the time, and when they need stuff, I just give it to them. I don't ever take clones or seeds from people. Typically, I give them away because I just want to see what they do. So I give them away and I say, hey, just let me know what you think. And it's yours to do with what you will. I just want to find out what you think of it. Give me a picture or something so I can see. That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm crazy.
Sorry, I'm just watching some of this going on in chat. I don't know who DBLR is, but if this is comedy, fuck me, I've achieved my goal. Oh, well, and it looks like Johnny's hit his nirvana there with like just these plants coming out of his head. He's finally melded with the goal achieved. What are you thinking about? Yeah, I must say, the breeding project, which, well, we're going to do an announcement for that. I think we're planning on having the kickoff debate thing. What we were talking about, also like around about the first week of November or something like that, is when we're going to have the kickoff debate. And that kickoff debate is really just a put it out there with the ethics of seed breeding is kind of the big glorious title, and again, just so we can set the stage now, it's people are going to have random teams that they're debating a point just for the sake of debating that point of the argument. It does not necessarily mean it is people's actual beliefs and expressions and feelings. Though it depends what team I get on. I'll make it bloody clear. But yeah, so that's going to be coming out, and then yeah, that's going to be quite a good and interesting one. I think we're starting to build some good material for that as well. The more I delve into it, Jesus, it's just yeah, somebody just handed the box with Pandora scribbled all over it. And I've ripped that lid off rather aggressively, and now it's like, fuck. Sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
Oh, I was going to say the picture of the plants behind me is that's a picture I took the other day. That's my keeper cut of strawberry banana.
Very nice, very nice. And is that do you know what's the lineage of that?
You guys he's probably not you guys' biggest fan, since this is kind of Rasta Jeff's kind of crew here, but it's
No, we're not Rasta Jeff's crew.
It's one of Copycat's
okay.
One of Copycat's beans.
Fair enough. I mean, we just happen to have had Rasta Jeff's. I mean, I think everybody's just run it a lot. Everybody's tied in with like the EO show and stuff like that. But there's no.
He's kind of a douchebag. Copycat is, but he grows some fire gear. So, but just what he does, he's whatever. Not my thing, but I'll still rock the shit.
I think Strawberry Banana was originally one of Crockett's.
I think so, yeah.
I believe the Strawberry Banana is Banana OG by Strawberry Sherbert.
I'm not sure about that. See, now you know more than me.
Sherbert by Strawberry something. I don't know.
Oh, there's just so many different flavors in there. It's just crazy. I mean, like you go and like, I've just got this latest one. Like, it's like, oh god. I mean, of course. I mean, that's my OCD bit, I guess. Is like, oh no, another one. It's just somebody just muddied the pool a little bit more. It's like, fuck's sake. I hope you're taking notes. Yeah, that's my only thing.
Spreadsheets are your friend.
Sorry.
Spreadsheets are your friend.
Yeah, just to anybody, man. Just make sure if you're doing anything, just keep notes of what you're doing, please. Just so that you can pass that information on. Let's make that become what the community at least does. Keep a track of what you're doing. Be a good idea, man. Because otherwise, it just turns into an absolute shit show.
Well, you just opened another can of worms by saying that. No. So now we got to decide on terminology. Now we got to sit down and all decide on one set of things to call things. That way we, like the scientific or academic community, can talk across different, lines and always know what we're talking about. So that requires some level of academia. Sorry, I'm a nerd. So I wrote the rules for the debate. I'm a nerd, and I wrote them academic style because I'm a nerd, and I nerded it up nerdly. So I kind of feel the same way.
Well, you did justice by that, because in my opinion, a lot of the cannabis industry has to re-educate themselves and go into real ag terms and real breeding terms, because these terms have been here and they really mean something. But, because we weren't able to.
Serious, yes, 100%.
Right. And because we weren't able to at the time doesn't mean like we can't catch up now, but we
exactly.
just, we need to. I mean, that's just what it is.
Exactly. Right. And that is the game, and that is part of the goal of that breeding project, and that is to say, okay, hang on, let's start to agree on what the correct terminology is that should be used, because the catch is people have heard terms being used in conversation by people who assume that those hearing it understand what the term means in the context it's being used. And then it suddenly starts getting used out of context. It's kind of the right thing that you're saying, but you're missing, it's close but no cigar, and suddenly you've got people arguing exactly the same point from two different sides, and they're arguing the same thing, and it's just because they've got a slightly different understanding of some terminology. And so it's making sure we all re-educate ourselves on what are these terms, what do they mean, because as you know, when you say something, it means something, and you don't want it to be misinterpreted. That the whole idea is to have a common language that allows us to share and discuss and share this information quickly and easily without having to sit there and go, now what the fuck did he mean? Unfortunately, that's why some of these words exist. Catching up.
Well, and I think also that allows us to have what I've learned from the smartest woman I know is something called positive conflict. That way, when we have an issue to discuss, we all know we're coming from a place of understanding. We all know we're on the same page, and it makes it very easy for us then to have a topic for debate because we all understand we're on the same page with the terminology. No one's making presumptions, and we're just discussing it so that we can figure out where we all sit on it. We're not taking a side, we're just discussing the issue so we can figure out what's best for our community.
Exactly. And it's what will allow us to allow the community to be taken more seriously in the bigger scope of things. I mean, yes, there's always going to be the home side of it, but anybody with any kind of dreams or ambitions of wanting to take part and play in the commercial side of it, you're going to have to step up to the plate. This isn't, the thing about what's coming down the line is organized commercial business is coming down the line, and those guys know what they're doing. You can't sit there and bitch and moan that they're breaking the rules. No, they're not. They just know the rules incredibly fucking well. And they have teams of lawyers who know the rules incredibly fucking well. And they know how much they can push and bend, but they never quite break them. They know what the
and also you have to look at it like this. It's going to be used as a commercial product. We all know it. So you have to look at it. Okay, they need stability. They don't want variation. They need one plant they need a fucking 200 acres of one cultivar that works, that's coming in at 16% THC or whatever they need with whatever, that's what they're going to use. That's what their goal is. As for the home grower or the small micro grower, you might want variety. That's not what they're looking at.
Yeah, they're not. And the consistency in terms of when you're breeding, I mean, and I guess, so this is one of the things to clarify in terms of like when you're creating a true breeding line or a stable breeding line, is it's true and stable for those traits that you're saying it's true and stable for. So I could say it's stable for orange terps or this particular terpene profile, chemo type, and something else, but the rest of it can vary. It can be different heights, it'll always do 16% THC, and the heights and that can vary, but it's true breeding for those traits that you're interested in. So I only want to grow 27 hectares that does that. I don't want plants in amongst it that are giving me pineapple terps. I want all orange. I don't want to fuck around, and that's the consistency that they're looking for. And it's when you can deliver that. And it's a complex plant. There's a lot of variation in structure in that, but you can lock certain aspects of it in. And I guess the ultimate goal is, can you lock trait after trait after trait until finally you end up with like the Nirvana plant that has everything consistently in it every single time. That would be interesting.
And we have a parallel example for this as an industry, i.e. hop breeding. That's why when you breed hops, for example, you actually don't sell seeds. No one does seeds. The industry does not even use seeds. When you buy a hop rhizome, the difference between hops and cannabis is basically hops adapted to the 55th to 35th parallel or so, and doesn't go any closer to the equator than that, because it differentiated by being one of the few plants that has a true rhizome. So like ginger, like bamboo, it's one of those few plants that can grow under the ground and then shoot stuff up, and it can just take over places. So hops, when we buy them, when we sell them to home brewers and stuff, if you want to grow them at home, we sell you a root cutting, no green on it whatsoever. You take that home, you can put it in a pot, you can put it in the ground, whatever. water it, and it'll take off.
It's like, like vineyards, like vines. I mean, you buy a vine root, and that's how you get it going. And you'll go and hunt down a treasured vine root.
Right. So when you plant a hop,
those.
Right. So when you do a hop orchard, basically, like it's a big giant rows and rows of vines they're vines, so they're slightly different, and then you string them so they can grow up and grow back down. But when they do that, I think the difference is that rhizome stays there all year round. So is it really commercially viable for them to either plant 3,000, 4,000, 10,000 clones, which according to Kevin Jodrey, you can do on a table system pretty easily, or is it more consistent for them to have seed crop to work from?
Seed.
I don't know.
The advantage with seed is why you don't do corn from clone. Well, you could do your feed. Why not clone corn and do 20, 80, 100 hectares? It's 100 hectares. It's a shit ton that you need to do. And the problem is that how much space does a seed take up? When I buy 150, if I buy 1,000 pounds weight-wise of seed, it's a bag in the corner of the room. That many plants and cuttings is how many rooms? And the electricity that goes with it, the lighting that goes with it, the management, the maintenance, something can go wrong and they can all die. The risks involved with running cuttings is really high in that aspect of it. So
maybe that's good because it keeps the big corporation out. It makes sure that it is more of a craft product that only smaller groups can do it.
You're never going to keep the big corporate out because big corporate will just produce the seeds themselves. I mean, look, it's coming. Now, the difference is, do you want to be big corporate would rather go and buy the seeds from someone? And I'll tell you why, because when it goes wrong, they want somebody to blame. And it won't be them. It's an insurance thing at that point. So you fucked up. You sold me shit that isn't what you said it was. It's somebody else's problem.
I don't think seed stock is the way cannabis is going to go at all. I think the future of cannabis is going to be cuttings and all the fucking.
But how do you do 20 hectares in cuttings?
You have Oregon CBD, dude. They're producing plants now on a seed level that can't even get impregnated by other pollen. And they're putting these in fields hectares, like he's saying. And it's actually consistently two different phenos. Yeah,
but that's what the big guys want.
They're not what the big guys want.
Yeah, they're not interested in
Monsanto or any big ag company. That's what they want. They don't want any variety. They want to say, when you plant this, it's going to harvest at this time. It'll be this structure. It's going to produce this amount of terpenes. That's what they want. So they know
they're not interested in how it looks. Yeah. But they're interested in what is the chemical profile of this thing. What is the biomass that I'm getting, and what type of biomass am I getting? Because that will determine how I have to process it.
And how much they can get in an acre.
So that's all they want to know. The similarity in the beer side is you've got Heineken, Foster's, these big Coors, whatever, the big guys, and you've got your next level down, which is the more microbrewery who are producing. Their stuff can change season to season, and that's the appeal, is they don't always have the same thing, but it's kind of similar, and they're really good at what they do, and they mix and match, and they go around and they do it. But those big boys, they want consistency, and they will take, and the way they achieve consistency is they actually use blends. They have to blend it from 100 different sources, and they blend all of that together, and that's what they'll be doing, is they're blending for chemical profile. They're not blending for
and it'll change year to year as the hop harvest change.
Yeah, so as the cannabis harvest change, as climate changes, you growing it on the north side, south side, chalky, loamy, everybody's growing. There's slight variation there, but I can guarantee that when I blend it all together, and that's what you'll have. You're going to have the same way that you've got master blenders when it comes to whiskeys and things like that. You're going to have master blenders who are making sure that the terpene profile that comes out of every blend is the same. It smells the same, it tastes the same. It's got all of those to it. That'll be its whole spin-off industry.
Your CVS, you got to look at it. When it goes federally legal, that's going to be your CVS, 7-Eleven, your Walmart bud. That's going to be what you get at those places. And they're going to be really vape pens and everything like that. I mean, there'll be a lot of concentrates coming out from them because, like he said, they're working on blends now. Like the extraction of terpenes that they're doing now is ridiculous, man.
not worried about cannabis around where I'm at all. It just depends on
No,
where
you
you're
don't have to be
at.
worried. If you're a small craft grower and you have your own varieties and you're working on things that are unique to your area and to you, you can make it. But you don't have to worry about that. But as far as like anything that can be produced at mass quantity, that's going to have a low pest resistance, low
I don't
mold
understand
resistance.
why people want that.
I mean, a lot of people are going to want that. Think about when it goes federally legal, how many people that have never tried it just because
It's
it
a
was
bunch
easy.
of poop.
I mean, ask a single malt whiskey drinker why anybody would
Think
want
about
to
it.
buy a blended whiskey. It's like, fuck off, mate. You bring that bottle of Bell's and I'm going to hit you with this bottle. You know, it's like, why would you want to do it?
Yeah, it's going to be just like the alcohol community. Like, I mean, or even like a cigar community. Think about it. Like, you have.
I guess it looks on what you're looking to get out of it too. I guess if you're just looking to get high, then you just buy that cheap bullshit that you know is going to get you.
And that's how it all started. I mean,
right.
I don't go in the room and pick the highest THC percentage. I'm not that guy. You know,
it's like
I look for.
It's like me with beer. I only drink like a craft beer, a good IPA, something that's low.
Only something that's worth it.
Bud Light. I won't drink anything like that. I don't like it. It tastes like shit. I'm like, why do I drink this fucking?
Where did you first start drinking beer?
But look, here's what. But look, your IPA is great, right? But every day, more millions of people are buying that Natty Ice, that Bud Light. That
for sure, I get it.
It's cheap, and they just want to get drunk. Yeah,
right.
And the nice thing is, though, that's the entry level into the experience, both at the price point and probably the quality. You know, those all come together, and then those become the guy that goes, well, hang on. So you're telling me, I mean, I liken it to, like, take my tequilas. You know, I started off drinking over the bar tequila, and now it's up in the specialist range, and it's like they're completely different. But you started then, you realize, oh, there's more to it. Oh, okay, hang on. And slowly you adjust, and that your palate will kick into, these are the things I'm looking for. And then they move into, they go from the big guys down into the craft guys, and they start supporting them because they now want to chase. So the people that start with the bottle of Bell's whiskey are now into their Lefroy's and their Juras and etc. All these other single malt brands that are out there. And it is that thing, you know, we all look at it and go, why would you want to do it? But fuck it, you know, it's where it starts.
Underground, check Underground. He's saying it.
Yeah, I didn't always smoke dank. Like back in the 90s, I smoked mids.
For sure.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. But once I learned, it was like, hold on, I can produce this better than what I'm buying. Oh, hell no. Yeah. I'm not going back that route. Or I can find my homie produces better. Like, hold on, why am I? No way. I mean,
yeah, but was it a choice thing or was it an availability thing? I mean, it was
at
like,
that time,
I'm not going to choice of this or a choice of this. I'm going to choose to smoke the mids. Or was it like, this is all I can get is mids. So this is what it is.
And when it goes federally legal, you know, some people are going to think that's all they can get until they are introduced by their friend or their homie, like, hey, smoke some of this, have this. And they're like, well, damn, where'd you get that from? Well, this is my man over here that does this. This didn't come from, you know, Walmart.
Right.
You know,
people already know that, though. They don't got to try the mids and go, oh, shit, this is better. They're already getting the better.
I mean, you know, my cousin Trip's tattooist, who cousin Trip pays for with Herb. I mean, he's saying that, you know, cousin Trip's Herb is way better than anything he can buy on, you know, on the street. Yeah, and you go like, really? And you're like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But there is the difference. You know, is it being mass produced, or is it being somebody's crafting it at home for themselves, who's not worried about how quickly does it turn around and can take a little bit longer, and isn't rushing it the whole way through. You know, it has to come down at this time. It's coming down whether it's ready or not, kind of thing.
I'll say I'm with Underground though. Like, especially when I first was young, it was more about like my best friend had leukemia at the time, so it was more of a need thing. So I didn't even really smoke weed, but I would get whatever I could find. Didn't matter. So, when I first started, it was definitely stuff that, was the brickiest of the brickiest of the brickiest. And I would say mids was a luxury that we didn't find until I was much older. So when you say mids, I'm like that skit from Monty Python. Oh, when I was a kid, we dreamed of mids. Oh, we lived in a shoebox in the middle of the road.
We
came
just
home from the
smoked
factory, our
roaches.
parents would slice us in two with our bread knives and dance about in our case. So, I mean, that's what it was like back when I was young, man. Or, when I was first, because that was all I could do. So, like, especially then, I think we forget those guys. Yeah, they're Budweiser. They're, shit. Back in the day, I won't tell you the kind of stuff I drank. And now I only drink the shit I make, I don't remember the last time I went for dispensary shit.
I mean, you've got to
give,
if we want people to get into the industry and support it, you've got to give them a price point at which they can do it. And,
give them an on-ramp.
$400 ounces ain't the way you get people in to support your industry. That's like, how do you get into expensive watches? You start with cheap watches. And you build your way up to the Rolexes and et cetera, et cetera. But you don't, necessarily step into it unless you're fortunate enough to come from a family that happens to, so if mommy or daddy happen to grow dank weed.
Basically, back in the early 70s, a guy named Charlie Papazian put out a book about home brewing, right? That's what started the craft beer revolution in America. In 1975, we had bottlenecked down to about 38 breweries in America. We had, at the turn of the century, in the 1900s, we had roughly almost 3,000 breweries in America. In 1975, we bottlenecked down to 38. And then now we're almost up to, I think, 5,000 or some crazy 6,000, something like that. So what it comes down to is how that changed, how that revolution happened was a guy named Charlie Papazian. He put out a book about home brewing, and he taught people how to homebrew anywhere he could. He was an evangelist. He was one of the people that, because of him, you got the American Homebrewers Society, the AHA. You got that's a governing body that certifies and judges for a national competition every year. There's the BJCP, the Beer Judge Certification Program. So, and the way we got people was by becoming homebrewers and then letting them taste our beer, and then they're like, "Holy shit, I can make that at home? You're kidding me!" And the same thing happens when you like your tattooist. So your next conversation that I would say you're morally obligated to have is, let me show you how.
Oh, that conversation's been had, but unfortunately they can't.
right. I get it, but that's how homebrewers did it.
But it's the best setup that my cousin Trip has. Is well, their deal is ink for bud. It's a barter system that works incredibly well. I trade knives for ink. He trades bud for ink. And that's not me pointing a knife and saying, "Oi, ink up, bitch."
And you do beautiful knife work, may I say.
That's one of the things you really don't want to do to the guy who's currently drawing into your skin with permanent marker pens. You treat him with a lot of respect.
You do a mean chef knife. You do a mean chef knife.
Thank you. That was, they're good fun to make.
All right, well, guys, I tell you what, I gotta get finished dinner. I have a child that's hungry.
Yeah, no worries. I was just actually looking at the time and saying that's kind of bringing us in an hour and a half. And if everybody, people want to hang around afterwards, we can have a little after hours sesh. If anybody in chat wants to join in at that point, I'll post up a link now, but it's not going to be live. You're welcome to jump in and hang out for a bit. I don't know how much longer people stick around, but have a, jump in, have a smoke or whatever. Yeah, that'd be good. So just before we go, just a quick shout out and thanks to everybody for participating. Also, don't forget to go in and check out and follow. I think it's a Fimidor and the Flavors is the YouTube channel, but the show is Chronic Table. And I tell you what, just go to Fimidor and the Flavors channel, subscribe, get the notification, hit the notification bell, etc. Also, Embracing Organics. That's another good show to go and watch on. That's on Thursdays, US
and you'll
time,
be on
Fridays.
Eagle coming up, Pete. Let's not forget to shout that out.
Yeah, the Eagle show, talking shit with Eagle, and that's like pretty regular almost every day. I think I see bits and pieces that are coming out. I don't really keep, I mean, it's always on when I jump in the morning. It's like strange. It's like, hey, everybody's still up. I've had a good 6 hours sleep. And so there's
Katie's
that.
on the 10th, you're on the 16th.
Yeah. And go back and watch Genetic Mary Farms was on the last one, so go back and watch that. It was a good one. And yeah, of course, this show every Saturday, so it's going to be a good one. So big thanks to Johnny for joining us again on season 4. Everybody wants to quickly say where we can find you when it comes to social media, etc. Johnny, before you quickly dive, where do you you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Where do we find you? Sorry, bud. No, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm on Instagram, Johnny Pulaski 420. It's pretty sure it's the same thing on this. I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the same screen name I have for all.
Yeah, this is Johnny's iPhone, so you may want to change that next time in case you.
Oh yeah. I don't.
We know you don't use Samsung, you liar. Let's see, use Samsung phone and just do it as Johnny's iPhone. One of the cool kids.
If I could switch that, I'd probably take it.
I'm just kidding, man. Just kidding. Excellent. So, Johnny, on Instagram, Lefty's Farm, where can we find you? So,
just Instagram is really just where I post. I have a YouTube account, but I was gonna make content. I have a bunch of videos I should post and make, but I gotta edit them and do all that. I gotta find time for that. I just don't get time for that.
That's it.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, just quick little updates, and once in a while I'll do a quick little live or something on Instagram. But that's really just where I keep most of my content. It's on Johnny Pulaski.
Fantastic.
JOHNNYPAWLOSKY 420.
There we go. Well, I'm glad you spelled it rather than me. My surname's the worst, and I'm not giving it out. I've heard all sorts of weird, wonderful spellings of it. Lefty's Farm, where can everybody find you, sir?
I'm at Lefty's Farm on IG. Also, I got a giveaway I'm trying to do at 420 followers. I'm giving away a pack of Orange Gasm. So if you're not following, go follow. You can win a pack of Orange Gasm.
And you can follow
and Lefty's Farm on Cannabis as well.
Yeah, and when you win the pack, when you're 420th follower and you win the pack of Orange Gasm, you can go back and watch season 3 and see how to grow Orange Gasm from beginning to end. See everything that's involved. Underground, sir, where can everybody find you?
Underground Organics Farm on IG, Country Boy VA on Cannabis. Yeah, and hurry up and follow Lefty, man. Let him get to 420. Hurry up, y'all. Like, so I can do a giveaway after he does one, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to give away a pack of seeds.
Yeah. Well, see, I got some I'm gonna give away too. If you would hurry up and get out of the way, I just
see. But now everybody's gonna wait until somebody else gets to 419. You see, that's the thing. Is everybody's waiting. So what you should say is randomly between now and 420 followers, somebody might get a packet of seeds.
That's when it ends. That's when I'm gonna give them away. No, like you just gotta follow me, tag a couple of buddies. Pick a number.
Okay, so it's not the 420th follower, but it's at 420 followers. There will be a seed giveaway based on the conditions. Gotcha.
How many you got left to get to?
Like
420.
Trying to get all these done. It's Lefty what?
560 to go. What? You had negative followers. Stopped and saw your mama, Danny. Okay, cool. Fair. So I'm just reading a comment from chat. And Genetic Memory Farms, where can everybody find you?
Oh, I'm just Genetic Memory Farms on Instagram. I just like to be helpful. So if anyone has any questions or there's anything helpful that you need or have a question about, give me a shout. I like to be helpful. That's about it. Have a great day.
Fantastic. And Lefty, a quick question from chat is, will you post to the UK?
I saw that.
It's legit to post to the UK. That's legal here. It's not a problem. in terms of.
I can try whether it gets there or not. That's that's what it is. I can try.
Yeah, I posted the seeds.
I'll try and send a gift pack. If you're the winner, I'll try and send some sort of a gift pack to you. How's that?
Yeah, it should be good, man. They tend to be pretty cool. And yeah, I tell you what, if I think I need to go and have a quick comfort break, but in the interim, if anybody does want to jump in on the a little bit while we after get together, whatever, you're welcome to. But yeah, everybody, thank you very much in chat for joining us, and see you all again next week. Perfect. Right, now let me make sure I don't end this the wrong way.